payment. Till now we have discussed about the flexible payment. Then we have discussed about design of the flexible payment, design of there is a structural evaluation, functional evaluation. We have discussed. Then we have come across with this distresses in the flexible payment. What are all the various distresses which is going to occur in the flexible payment? Today we will be moving to the next type of payment is a rigid payment. So in the fourth module, the module full. Okay, the fourth module is fully complete. So the fourth module, which is fully complete of a rigid payment. That is in this we are going to determine the stresses. Okay, the stresses which are coming on the payment. Then we are going to design the payment similar to the flexible payment. Here also in the fourth module we will be designing the payment. That is a separate code is there, that is using the IRC 58 code for designing the flexible payment. Using that code book we are going to design. So we have already known to us is design of payment means determining the thickness. So before going to the module 4, as we all know that rigid payment, here some features are there about the rigid payment. So in the rigid payment, the top layer will be the cement concrete. Okay, in the rigid payment, the top layer will be the cement concrete, which will be used as a bearing course. And here the stress transfer will be like a slab action. Okay, the slab action, because of the slab action, the stress transfer is going to take place. That is, whatever the load you are going to apply, it will be transferred like a slab. That is the slab action for stress transfer will be there. Then the design life is around 30 to 40 years. Okay, the design life. Why? Because the cement concrete pavements are not easily deteriorated pavements. Okay, it will not deteriorate or it will not fail under circumstances, but it will survive up to 30 to 40 years. And in the cement concrete pavements, not only the stresses will be there, the wheel, that is the load stresses, there will be other types of stresses also will be there. One is the wheel load stress will be there. So wheel load stress we are going to consider. Then temperature stresses will be there, because since the concrete is a rigid body, so because of the temperature there will be shrinkage and elongation will be there. Because of that, the temperature stresses will be developed. Then comes the frictional stresses, that is frictional stress, which these are the three types of stresses which will be coming across in this fourth module, and design of rigid pavement. Now first we will see what do you mean by this rigid pavement, and what are their component parts. So these things we have already discussed in the first module, that is the rigid pavements. These have a sufficient flexural strength to transmit the wheel load stresses to a wider area below. So you can observe here in this the subgrade will be there, sub base, base course. These two are optional, or you can provide as a single layer. Then comes the surface course. So the surface course is made up of I told right the cement concrete. Okay, the surface course is made up of cement concrete, which will be having a sufficient flexural strength, which will bring some sufficient flexural strength, through which the wheel load stresses will be transferred to a wider area. But when you come across with the flexible pavement, when you apply the wheel load stresses, the stress transfer will be a truncated cone. That is a frustum of cone or truncated cone, and it will be grain to grain contact. Okay, the stress transfer will be the grain to grain, it will be transferred. But in the cement concrete pavement, the stress transfer will be in terms of a larger area. Here only small area is observed here, but in the cement concrete, the load will be whatever the load you are going to apply, it will be distributed to a larger area. That's why it will be having a more design life. Okay, since load is distributed equally or uniformly throughout the slab, that's why it will be having a more life. But when you compare, when you go for this flexible pavement, there you can observe that because of this grain to grain contact, the stresses will be transferred and which will be in the design life of 10 to 15 years. Then compared to flexible pavement, rigid pavements are placed either directly on the prepared subgrade or single layer of granular or stabilized material. So as we all know that the cement concrete pavement can be directly placed on the subgrade soil, or you can provide a single layer of soil. Okay, we can provide a single layer of granular layer. That is whether it may be a DLC, that is a dryling concrete. Okay, make a note of this one. That is a using dryling concrete which acts as a base course or a sub base course. Okay, that is the dryling concrete which acts as a sub base or base course on which the cement concrete can be placed. So, or either if you are going for a plain cement concrete without any reinforcement, means we can directly place that cement concrete on the prepared subgrade. Then in the rigid pavement, load is distributed by slab action. I was telling right, the load is distributed by slab action, and the pavement behaves like an elastic plate resting on a viscous medium. So it be thus because of the slab action of the rigid pavement, the stress transfer will be there. The stress will be transferred with the help of this slab action, and the pavement behaves like a elastic plate. Okay, that is the pavement behaves like a elastic plate resting on a viscous medium. Viscous medium means the subgrade or GSP which is having a viscous in nature. So this is the assumption which is made by Westergaard. Okay, so in the later classes I will see what is this Westergaard. So this assumption, okay, this assumption that is a elastic plate resting on the viscous medium is which is a assumption made by the Westergaard. Okay, for analysis purpose he has made, and the same has been carried forward till date. Till date we are considering it as the same. That is a elastic plate resting on the viscous medium. Then rigid pavements are constructed by Portland cement concrete. Okay, that is a PCC, or we can also call it as a PQC. PQC. That is a PQC means a pavement quality concrete. Okay, pavement quality concrete. So rigid pavements are constructed using this PCC, that is a plain cement concrete, which are also called as a PQC, pavement quality concrete. Usually the pavement quality concrete will be used for the cement concrete. And remember one thing here, when the low traffic volume, when the traffic volume is low, means we are going to use M30 grade concrete. When the traffic volume is high volume, we are going to use M40 grade concrete. So remember, when the traffic volume is lesser or low, means we are going to use M30 concrete. When the traffic volume is high, means we are going to use M40 concrete. So rigid pavements are constructed by this Portland cement concrete, which is also called as a pavement quality concrete. Okay, especially for pavement only, they will be designing the concrete. That type of concrete we are going to call it as a pavement quality concrete. Then and should be analyzed by plate theory instead of layer theory. Okay, I told right, in the flexible pavement we have discussed, that is a Burmeister two-layer theory, then Bosnick single-layer theory, then Burmeister multi-layer theory. So if this cement concrete will be considered as a plate, so it will be analyzed using the plate theory rather than analyzing using the layer theory. Okay, so remember, rigid pavements are constructed using PCC, that is the plain cement concrete, Portland cement concrete, and they are analyzed by this plate theory instead of layer theory. There is you have to analyze the cement concrete by using a plate theory. Okay, I am going to tell what is that plate theory, what that Westergaard has evaluated the plate theory rather than using the layer theory. Assuming that elastic plate resting on viscous foundation. Again, they have mentioned that, again they have told that elastic plate resting on viscous medium. That is the entire subgrade and other layer will be considered as viscous medium, and the cement concrete as a elastic plate. Okay, that is the surface course is considered as the elastic plate. Okay, this is the concept behind. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to analyze this cement concrete. If we are not assuming like this, means it will be very difficult to analyze the cement concrete. It is not so easy analysis of cement concrete. So, because of this assumption, we are analyzing the cement concrete easily. There is an elastic plate resting on the viscous foundation. Then bending of the slab due to V load and temperature variation and results in tensile and flexural stresses. So we can observe here, because of the V load, because of the V load stresses and temperature stresses. Okay, because of the V load and temperature stresses, as I told, right, because of shrinkage and expansion, the temperature stresses are going to develop in the cement concrete, which will be creating the stresses. So because of the V load which is acting on the pavement and temperature variation in temperature, in the pavement develops a tensile and flexural stresses. Or we can call it as a bending stress, or we can call it as a warping stress. Okay, remember bending of the slab. Okay, the slab is going to bend, but you can't see that bending of slab through your naked eye. But if you go through the microscope or some sensitive instrument to observe, there you can observe that the slab will be bending because of this V load stresses on the pavement and variation in temperature. That is temperature stresses will be developed and V load stresses will be developed. So those stresses will be creating the bending action in the slab. So remember, this is the basic thing we should remember when we are designing the rigid pavement. One thing, it is having some flexural strength, then it is analyzed, it is directly placed on the subgrade, or you can provide a single layer, granular layer, and the analysis is made by assuming the elastic plate resting on the viscous media. Then analysis is done assuming that assuming the plate theory instead of layer theory. Then the PQC, that is pavement quality concrete, is used for construction of the cement concrete, and bending of cement concrete will be there because of the V load stresses and temperature or thermal stresses. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Is it clear? Am I audible or not? Okay. Next is types of stresses in rigid pavement. What are all the various types? So in the flexible pavement, we have seen types of stresses as vertical compressive stress, that is vertical compressive stress, then horizontal radial stress. So these two are the stresses we have observed in flexible pavement. Okay, these are the commonly observed stresses in the flexible pavement. But in the rigid pavement, there will be three types of stresses will be there. The first one will be V load stresses. Second one will be the temperature stresses. Third one will be frictional stresses. So there are three types of stresses will be there in the exam. This is very important question. It is types of stresses in rigid pavement. Okay, types of stresses in rigid pavement. So there are three types of stresses will be there. V load stress, temperature, that is because of the V load, because of the temperature, and because of the frictional development. There is a development of friction between the CC pavement and the layer, which will be creating a frictional stresses. So we will see one by one. So V load stresses. What is this V loads? The CC slab is subjected to fluxional stresses due to V loads. Okay, because if you consider a cement concrete pavement, if you apply the load on the pavement means the stresses is going to develop. The stress is going to develop. That is there will be opposite reaction. Okay, the opposite reaction which will be applied. So this opposite reaction we are going to collect as a V load stresses. Okay, V load stresses. V load stresses. So whenever you apply the V load on the rigid pavement, the stress corresponding to the V load application that we are going to collect as a V load stresses. Then comes the temperature stresses due to the temperature differential between the top and bottom of the slab. So if you consider the temperature stresses, I'll write here only. You can observe here. So if you consider a slab, okay, this is the slab of the cement concrete. So if we consider the slab of the cement concrete, if there is any temperature differential, okay, T naught, if there is any temperature, for example, at the top it will be 37 degrees Celsius, at the bottom it will be 35 degrees Celsius. So if there is any temperature differential, that is 37 minus 35, that is 2 degrees Celsius temperature. So if there is any temperature difference will be there in the top and bottom of the slab, means curling stresses are going to occur. That is the temperature stresses. The temperature stresses are also called as curling stresses, which are going to develop at the bottom of the slab or top of the slab. That's why the slab will bend like this. Okay, either it will bend like this or it will bend like this. Okay, that is a bending of slab will be because of this temperature stresses. If there is any temperature differential between the top and bottom of the slab, there will be a chances of curling stresses, that is the bending stresses at the corner, that is at the bottom and top of the slab. So remember the temperature, if there is any temperature differential between the top and bottom of the slab, then the bending stresses, this is upside bending and this is downside bending. There will be bending of slab at the corner will be there. Okay, next one is frictional stresses due to construction of slab due to shrinkage or due to drop in temperature. Tensile stresses are induced at the middle point of the slab. So because of shrinkage, for example, the slab length is 3 meter, for example, because of shrinkage it is reduced to 2.95 meter. Okay, because of, so there is a 0.05 meter shrinkage is there. There is a 0.05 meter shrinkage is there. So because of this shrinkage, the frictional stresses are going to develop at the middle portion of the slab. Okay, because of shrinkage, the frictional stresses are going to develop at the middle portion of the slab. So remember, V load stresses, when the V load is applied on the cement concrete pavement, the flexural stresses are bending stresses. We can call it as a bending stresses or warping stresses are going to develop in the CC pavement. Then if there is any temperature differential between the top surface and bottom of the cement concrete pavement, means there induces the temperature stresses. Okay, at the top or bottom, the temperature stresses are curling stresses. Okay, curling stresses are also called as temperature stresses. Curling means we can call it as bending also. So temperature stresses, either the upward bending or downward bending which is going to take place. So we will see when it will be upward bending and when it will be downward bending in the upcoming classes. That is when we are discussing about the temperature stresses. Then the last one is frictional stresses, the stresses due to shrinkage. Okay, shrinkage means a reduction in volume of the concrete, thereby at the middle the frictional stress is going to develop. Okay, these are the three types of stress in cement concrete pavement. One is V load, temperature, and frictional stress. Is it clear? Kindly respond. You can unmute yourself and answer. Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Kindly respond. Is it clear? Types of stresses in cement concrete pavements. Kindly respond. You can unmute yourself and you can answer.
Yes, sir.
Next one is analysis of stresses. Okay, this is very important portion in the cement concrete pavement. There will be one compulsory question on this analysis in CC pavement. That is especially in the Westergaard analysis. Okay, he is a scientist. He is a researcher who analyzed this CC payment. Especially the CC payment was analyzed by this Westergaard only. What are the things what he has considered and what are the parameters he has considered while analyzing this CC payment? We will see today. So Westergaard in his theoretical analysis considered a rigid pavement slab to be a thin elastic plate resting on a soil subgrade, which is assumed as a dense liquid. I told right. The analysis is made assuming that CC slab has a thin elastic plate resting on viscous media. So he has assumed that cement concrete slab has a thin elastic plate. Okay, as we all know, the thin elastic plate whose dimension is less than 5 centimeter. So he has assumed that it is a thin elastic plate resting on the subgrade. Okay, resting on the subgrade. So the subgrade will be considered as a dense liquid with viscous media. So the subgrade is considered. He considered that subgrade as a dense liquid with viscous medium. Thus, it is assumed that subgrade provides an upward reaction P, which is directly proportional to deflection. So, as we all know that in the plate load test, as we apply load on the plate load, okay, which is similar to the plate load test, he has assumed as we apply a load on the plate, there will be opposite reaction. There will be opposite reaction. That upward reaction we are going to call it as a small p. That is a pressure sustained by the plate. Okay, there is a pressure sustained by the plate we are going to call. So in the I think Burmester two-layer theory, we have discussed the plate load test. Whenever the problems are asked on plate load, it is considered as Burmester theory. In that, he considered the P. That is the pressure or contact pressure of the tire. There they have considered, but here we will be considering it as the upward pressure. Okay, when you apply the load on the thin plate, there will be upward pressure. That pressure will be directly proportional. Okay, that small p is directly proportional to deflection. Okay, that directly proportional to deflection. And when you resolve this, we will get a constant called K. Okay, when you remove the proportionality, a constant will be there. That constant we are going to call it as a K. Here, the K is defined as a modulus of subgrade reaction. What is this modulus of subgrade? So I'll explain in detail. See here, when you apply a load on the pavement, okay, where you are going to, the slab is placed on the subgrade soil. So as we all know that it is a subgrade soil. So since we have made an assumption that thin elastic plate resting on the soil subgrade, so this will be subgrade. You will be applying the load. Okay, the load will be transferred to the subgrade through slab action. But to counteract the slab action, the subgrade will be applying some load. that will be some resistance will be applied by the subgrade. That resistance we are going to call it as a modulus of subgrade reaction. So remember, when we apply the load on the cement concrete slab, the slab will transfer the load to the subgrade. So the load will be restricted, or the load will be opposed by some load which is given, or some resistance offered by the subgrade. So that resistance offered, okay, resistance offered by the subgrade, we are going to call it as a modulus of subgrade reaction. Resistance offered by the subgrade, that we are going to call it as a modulus of subgrade reaction. And the unit of K. So since pressure is in kg per centimeter square, so the deflection is in centimeter, so it will be call it as a kg per centimeter cube. So the unit of modulus of subgrade reaction is kg per centimeter square per centimeter, or kg per centimeter cube we are going to consider. So remember, modulus of subgrade reaction means it is the resistance offered by the subgrade to withstand the load stresses coming on the subgrade soil. Okay, remember, it is the resistance offered by the subgrade soil. Okay, so Westergaard assumed that a thin elastic plate is resting on the dense liquid. Based on that, he has arrived this equation, and this constant, he has arrived with the constant called K, that is the modulus of subgrade reaction, and that modulus of subgrade reaction is the resistance offered by the subgrade. And the unit of this modulus of subgrade reaction is K value. Then the equation for determining stresses in rigid pavement were expressed by using property. So you will be expressing the rigid pavement stresses. Stresses in rigid pavement are expressed in terms of three types. One is a modulus of subgrade reaction, radius of relative stiffness, and equivalent radius of resisting section. So we will see one by one what is this modulus of subgrade reaction, radius of relative stiffness, and equivalent radius of resisting section. So these things we have already learned. Okay, these things we have already seen in the highway engineering. When we are discussing about the cement concrete pavement, there we have already discussed about this Westergaard stresses in the highway engineering subject. The same thing will be explained here. So next we will move for what is this modulus of subgrade reaction. So the modulus of subgrade reaction is proportional to displacement. So the displacement level is taken as 0.125 centimeter. So as I told, right, modulus of subgrade reaction means it is the resistance offered by the subgrade soil because of the applied wheel load on the plate. So modulus of subgrade reaction means resistance offered by the subgrade soil because of the applied wheel load on the plate. So because of the application of the wheel load on the rigid pavement, the whatever the reaction or the resistance which is going to offered by the subgrade, that we are going to call it as a modulus of subgrade reaction. And we have taken the deflection value as 0.125 centimeter, which is a constant. As per IRC specifications, we have to take the modulus of subgrade reaction at delta. That is at a deflection 0.125 centimeter. We are going to measure the pressure. And the diameter of the plate we have to consider is 75 centimeter. Okay, we all know that in the plate load test, we are having the diameter of the plate as 15, 30, then 45, 60, and 75 centimeter. So we are going to consider the diameter of the plate as 75 centimeter with a deflection of 0.125 centimeter. And the modulus of subgrade reaction is given by this equation. So kindly note down, K is equal to P by delta. So small p by 0.125 kg per centimeter cube. So kindly note down this formula, modulus of subgrade reaction. Kindly note down. So kindly note down. Modulus of subgrade reaction formula. K is equal to P by 0.125, small p by 0.125, which will be in terms of kg per centimeter cube. Kg per centimeter cube. Modulus of subgrade reaction. The next one is radius of relative stiffness. Okay, radius of relative stiffness. So, as we all know that the modulus of subgrade reaction, which is the resistance offered by the subgrade soil against the wheel load. So, the degree of resistance, okay, the degree of resistance of to slab deformation of the subgrade because of application of the load, okay, because of application of the load, because of application of the load, the slab will deflect, okay, the slab will deflect up to a certain extent, so it will deflect like this. Wait a minute. So the slab is going to deflect like this. So which will depends on flexural strength and thickness and strength characteristics of the pavement. So the relative stiffness of the slab with respect to the subgrade support is dependent on the properties of soil and pressure deformation characteristics. So remember the bending action or the flexural strength of the concrete. Okay, the bending action or the flexural strength of the concrete will be depends on the strength characteristics or properties of the slab. Okay, so remember the properties of the slab will be indicated in terms of radius of relative stiffness. So you can say that radius of relative stiffness means the term which is used to represents the property of a cement concrete slab. The term which is used to represent the property of cement concrete slab, that we are going to call it as a radius of relative stiffness. So L, you can note down this formula also, E h cube divided by 12k into 1 minus mu square whole power 1 by 4. Both are correct. You can note down the formula, the radius of relative stiffness. In the exam, they will ask write a short note on modulus of modulus of subgrade reaction, radius of relative stiffness. They will ask. Okay, write a short note on. So you have to write the formula and you have to explain the terms, whatever the terms are there. If you keep on explaining, it will be okay. So L is the radius of relative stiffness, H is the thickness, E is the modulus of elasticity of concrete, mu is the Poisson's ratio. We are going to assume it as 0.15. Then K is the modulus of subgrade reaction, kg per centimeter cube. So kindly note down this formula, radius of relative stiffness. L is equal to, you can write this formula or you can write this, both are same. Both are same. Are you following it or not? The SSS in rigid pavement, kindly respond. Are people are following? Okay. Note down note it down. Radius of relative stiffness. Completed. Completed. Kindly respond. I have written the formula. Have you written the formula? Next one is critical positions of loading. As we all know that the cement concrete will be like a slab action. So it looks like a slab. So on this slab, we are going to apply the load at different location. Okay, we are going to apply the load at different location. So these are the loads, critical positions where Westergaard has considered, and he has analyzed this cement concrete pavement. That is, the stresses in cement concrete pavements are analyzed based on this critical loading. Okay, based on the critical position of loading, the Westergaard has analyzed the cement concrete pavement. That is, the cement concrete pavement will be analyzed. Then there are three typical locations where differing conditions of slab continuity exist when it is loaded. The locations are interior, edge, and corner. So remember, this is also very important question. They will ask for 2 marks. Okay, in the exam they will ask for 2 marks. Locate the critical loading points on the CC pavement. So you have to write these two diagrams and you have to specify. One is interior loading, as the name itself indicates, at the middle portion of the cement slab. At the middle portion of the cement concrete slab, if you are applying the load, that we are going to call it as interior loading. So interior loading means when we are applying the load on the interior position, okay, interior portion of the cement concrete, then we are going to call it as interior loading. Then edge loading, when the cement concrete is applied on the edges of the, that is when the load is applied on the edges of the cement concrete. Okay, this is the edge. So when we apply the load, whether when we apply the wheel load stresses or wheel load on the edge of the cement concrete pavement, that we are going to call it as a edge load. The same thing has been explained here. When the load is applied in the interior of the slab surface at any place removed from all the edges, other than the edges and corner, if you apply the load on the cement concrete pavement, that we are going to call it as a interior loading. Then edge loading, when the load is applied on the edge of the slab at any place removed from corner, other than corner, if you are applying the load on the edges, that we are going to call it as a edge loading. Then a corner loading, when the center of load application is located on the bisector of the corner angle formed by two intersecting edges. You can observe here the two intersecting edges are there. Okay, in this there will be two intersecting edges will be there. So those intersecting edges, at this position we are going to apply the corner load, and this load we are going to call it as a corner loading. When there is a when there is an intersection of two edges, okay, when there is an intersection of two edges, that we are going to call it as a corner loading. So there are three types of critical locations of the load are there. One is interior loading, edge loading, then corner loading. So three types of critical positions are there: interior, edge, and corner loading. In the exam they will ask all these questions. What are the, or they will ask like this: locate the critical load positions on the cement concrete pavement. So you should be in a position to locate the edge loading, interior loading, and corner loading. On basis of these loading criteria, Westergaard has came up with the stress equations. Okay, Westergaard has came up with these stress equation, and he has analyzed the cement concrete pavement. So is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear? Kindly respond. Kindly respond. Is it clear? So you can unmute yourself and answer. Every time you will be sending the message in the chat section. Otherwise, you can unmute yourself and you can answer, right? Okay, it's your wish. Next one is the radius of relative stiffness. So considering the cases of interior loading, so we will be consider these are the worst case, that is the interior loading. The maximum bending moment occurs at the loaded area and acts radially in all direction. If you consider a slab, if you the interior loading, so the maximum bending moment will be acting like this. Okay, it will be radially acting around the loaded area. So to determine how much extent it is acting means we will be using this the term called equivalent radius of resisting section. So the maximum bending moment occurs at the loaded area. Here the maximum bending occurs at the loaded area, and it will be acting radially outwards. Okay, it will be acting radially in all direction. In all direction, it will be acting radially, the maximum bending moment. So at this position, at what distance the maximum bending moment is acting means that we are going to determine using this equivalent radius of resisting section. So kindly note down this. According to Westergaard, the equivalent is approximated in terms of radius of load distribution and slab thickness. He has made that using the load distribution, that is the radius of load distribution and slab thickness, he has came up with some equation. Using this equation, we are going to determine the equivalent radius of resisting section. So kindly note down this one. So B is the equivalent radius of resisting section if H by A is less than A by H, not H by A by A less than 1.724, we have to use B is equal to square root of 1.6 A square plus H square minus 0.675 H. If it is A by H is greater than 1.724, A is equal to B, or B is equal to A. So kindly note down the criteria, conditions. If A by H is less than 1.724, you have to use this formula. If it is A by H is less than 1.74, you have to use this formula. If it is greater than 1.74, you have to take B is equal to A. A is the radius of wheel load distribution, H is the slab thickness. Okay, so kindly note down the formula. So these are the things you have to remember in this analysis of stresses in rigid pavement. Okay, so I'll stop here. So kindly note down the formula. And in tomorrow's class, I'm going to start with this Westergaard stresses analysis, that is interior, edge and corner stresses. Then warping stresses we will discuss. Thermal stresses, that is the temperature stress we will discuss. Then frictional. Tomorrow I'm going to complete Westergaard analysis, then modified Westergaard equations and critical stresses and wheel load stresses. Tomorrow I'm going to complete. Okay. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the cement concrete. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. I hope everyone have understood, right? These are the things we have already discussed in the highway engineering subject. The same thing we are discussing here. Okay. Okay, I will stop here. Everyone have written the formula? Everyone have written the formula? Kindly respond. You can leave a message in the chat section also if the formula is written. Okay. Okay. I'll stop here. The third module notes has been uploaded in the MS Teams. So kindly go through that third module notes. And for problems, for solution of the problems, you can refer the recorded videos which are available in the MS Teams. Okay. Before that, I'll show how to get the notes in the MS Teams. So my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
So you will be having the MS Teams like this. So visit the payment design, and here you can observe the files. Okay, you can observe the arrow mark. So in this, the notes will be available. Okay, you can click here. You can see the class materials will be there. So all the notes will be available here. Okay, so third module I have uploaded the notes and PPT. And the problems, only the questions I have uploaded. For solution, you have to refer the recorded videos. Okay. Okay. Thank you. You can leave the session. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Attend the classes regularly. Don't bunk the classes. So it will be ended with shortage of attendance. So kindly attend the classes regularly.